as we get started here, just raise your hand if you feel like you're a 5 out of 10 in understanding what CompanyCam does, as well as like how you currently use it in your own processes. 5 out of 10 or above? No? Okay, so other than Paul, kind of super user, and couple kind of use it quite a bit too. Okay. Now, if you have no understanding for CompanyCam, raise your hand. Kind of give me some insight. Okay.
I mean, I know of it, but like,
okay.
I don't know like.
Okay. Some blends. So definitely tomorrow for you guys that are really into CompanyCam, I can dive into some troubleshooting stuff. So if you're like, hey, that's the one I really want to go to. Like, if you want to pop to another session, dude, no worries, man. I'm not gonna judge you and walk out of the room. All right. So. Anyway, so I'm going to dive in real quick, just give you a quick little overview of CompanyCam. So essentially kind of tell you a little bit more about the story behind us, the problem that we found working with a lot of companies across the board, a solution that we've been really focusing on, and then how to win from there. And so thanks for grabbing doors, I appreciate that. So real quick about me, I've been with CompanyCam now for almost 3 years. My buddy Luke actually started the company, and I'm kicking myself that I didn't start with him 10.5 years ago, because those stock options would be looking pretty good right about now. So my role is an account executive, so I work with medium to enterprise sized companies, working through their start to endpoint solution on how to create better processes through the CompanyCam app. And a quick little fun fact that my friend threw in here, I have 3 siblings born on the same day as me.
Shut up.
You know what that means? I'm actually a quadruplet, so I've got 2 brothers, sister, same age, quadruplet. Grew up in a house that was chaotic, and so for me, I naturally gravitate towards things that have systems and processes in place, although I work for CompanyCam here today.
I've been more impressed if it was multiple years of the same thing.
Exactly.
That's not
Exactly. So I can show you guys later. I do have a photo. I'll show you me and all my siblings together. So anyway, so what is CompanyCam? Really, at its core, CompanyCam is a visual-first documentation tool that communicates a solution that's built to help you have better communication between you and your teams, and also you and your customer itself. And so really, we got to start about 10.5 years ago. Luke Hansen, who is our CEO, I think I got a photo of him right here. Luke, my buddy, was working for his dad's roofing company out of Lincoln, Nebraska. You guys ever been to Nebraska? You ever been to Nebraska in the summer? I don't know why on earth you do that. It's horrible, it's humid, it's hot, it's miserable, and if you're working on a roof, your life is not fun. And so Luke really found himself in a really odd position because his entire role with the company was all about production and marketing. Cleanly going to every single site, getting on top of every single roof that they finished, taking all of their before photos, all of their after photos, and he's had this clunky DSLR camera lugging that thing up on top of a roof in the humid, hot Nebraska sun. No one wants to be there. It's not great. And so he's sitting there, he's like, there's got to be a better way. I need to spend my time doing something that I actually enjoy. Because he realized, he's like, my dad's not going to fire me, and my dad's not going to let me quit, so I need to figure something out really quick here. And so that was where the idea kind of came up for CompanyCam, because he started to realize there's nothing out there that allows me to quickly capture information in real time and communicate that info between me and my team. And so that was where his focus really jumped in on trying to figure out if he could create an app that created a solution that was all cloud-based in real time. And so what he did was he actually gathered up some of his buddies. I was not included in that, so I kind of missed the boat 10.5 years ago. But essentially he started thinking through, like, we need to make an app that creates a productive way to create that communication. And so that was really the first version of CompanyCam, creating a mobile and desktop solution where I could be out in the field on my iPhone or my Android on a specific project, take photos, and the second that I would take those photos, it would instantly upload to the cloud without storing any of that information on my physical device itself. And so he really focused in on how do we do that. So he made it, and now he says, look, this is where we are. This is what's happened in the last 10.5 years. It's grown and grown and grown. So today, as of this last month, we're a $76 million in annual recurring revenue company. with a goal to reach 250 million by the end of 2026. So we're on this constant growth pattern. I like to tell Luke, hey, every year that I've been with your company, we've doubled our annual income. So that's really the only thing that's changed. I'm a part of that. I should get some benefits here, kind of thing. And so it's been really cool to see CompanyCam really grow and focus in on the solution that we provide. And so before we dive into our solution, I really just want to kind of sit down and talk through a bit of the problem that we've discovered over time. And so on average, I spend about 16.5 to 17 hours every single week on a Zoom call with small all the way to large enterprise companies. And I usually basically have about 3 to 5 people typically on those calls. I've got a marketing gal, I've got an owner or COO, and I've got a couple field guys or project managers all on that call with me. And usually when I get started, I like to just simply kind of sit down and ask one simple question, like, hey guys, listen, I'm really excited that you want to see what CompanyCam can do, but let me just ask you, why are you here? Why are you coming to CompanyCam? What is the problem that you're facing? And for the next 20 to 25 minutes, I become a counselor for all 5 of these individuals, talking through all the problems that they're facing. And I tell you what, I'm actually becoming a couples therapist as well, because I've been working with a lot of husband and wife teams that are working through their problems at home at the same time they're working through their problems at work as well. And so my tagline at CompanyCam is I've been saving marriages since 2015. So thank you if you're going to do a demo with me. But here's what I've kind of generalized on those calls. Usually it's something along the lines of, Mike, we're just not on the same page. We have processes, and sometimes they're on paper, sometimes they're a theory, but we're so stretched out, we don't have enough time to really systemize those processes and make it cleanly work for this department or this team. Or sometimes I hear, Mike, we just don't have time to take the photos. We know we need to cover our butts for those situations, those liability things that we have going on, but it just takes too long to take a photo and have them texted or to store it somewhere. And usually, Mike, a lot of that information just gets lost along the way. Mike, we are recording data, but to get that into something that's meaningful for us is very, very difficult. It's not easy, and we instantly and sometimes lose information. And so, listen, without a surefire, simple process to capture project site information, the problem begins to add up for every single business that I've worked with. Misalignment, a miscommunication, lack of ownership or awareness of what those guys out in the field should be doing or what their process should be out in the field. There's no standardization. Think about this for a second. If you lose your best field guy, the guy that knows every process, every system, does his job to a T, dots his I's every single time, if you lose that guy tomorrow, how do you replicate him or her? How do you duplicate that, right? If you don't have a standardization of what they're doing on a project every single day into a system that is duplicatable and replicable, how are you going to do that? Or what about a customer dispute for a liability issue? Or what about sending guys back to a job site to take photos, to document that information? All of this adds up to time and resources wasted, which means money is wasted as well. And so your process matters. So let me just pause for a second. And I want you guys to just hypothetically think kind of like 2 points on a map here. First point, this is where you start your job, whether that be a potential lead, working all the way to the end of that job, right? So I want you to think of all the different things that happen in between for a second, all right? Potential customer, maybe it's a bid, maybe it's an estimate, then you kind of move it over to production. We're actually physically working on the site. We've got our daily logs, our SOP processes, our reports, and then maybe once the job's complete, maybe we want to kind of grab those photos and create some marketing potential out of it, right? Maybe even try to get them to review and give us a 5-star Google review. There's a process to that as well to close out that job. How would you rate your current process? Is it something that you could easily communicate to your field guys all the way up to anyone else in the company? Is it fast? Is it simple? Is it replicable? Or does it need an overhaul? Really, that's what I'm trying to ask you here. And so let me just I'm going to use a quick little illustration here. On this next slide, I'm going to just put a bunch of numbers in front of you, okay? And your goal is just a very simple task. I want you to scan that list of numbers and just find the number 1. And once you find the number 1, go search for number 2. And then on to 3, and so on, okay? I'm going to give you 15 seconds. I want to see how far you can get. And there's a prize, whoever gets the most. All right, don't cheat, but there is a prize. And so I just want to see 15 seconds. I'm going to show you this slide, and you're just going to count in your head to see how far you can get. Time.
Damn.
Anyone get past 10?
I didn't get 5.
Oh, what'd you get, Paul?
11.
11?
11 as well.
Oh, you guys are both winners. Come see me afterwards. I'll get you guys a little gift. Anyone stop at 0 because you didn't realize what the instruction was? I always have one every single time. So here's the reality around that. If you don't have a proper system in place or a proper process in place, a simple task like that can seem really daunting, right? So let me try this again. What I'm going to do, I'm going to split up that same list of numbers, and I'm going to categorize it into 4 quadrants. All right, so the top left is going to be quadrant 1, top right, quadrant 2, bottom left, quadrant 3, bottom right, quadrant 4. And I'm also going to tell you a little tip. Your brain comprehends numbers 2.5 times faster left to right, as if you were reading, than it would up and down. Okay? That's just how we comprehend things. All right? So I'm going to give you guys another 15 seconds to do it again, but this time it's going to be built out in those quadrants. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
As we're kind of going through the projects themselves and we're looking at these houses, we want to make sure that the project is going to be eligible, right? So there are some things here where the project is not eligible for the township fund right now. Some of those are that the houses have the primary vehicle, natural gas, so if natural gas homes currently, if they have natural gas.
All right, stop. Did we do better?
19.
19. Anyone else hired 19? Got double, Paul. That's great. Right? So when we have proper systems and processes in place, a daunting task like that can actually become very simple and easy and natural for us. And so I share that because sometimes we need to rethink or reanalyze. And I don't want to just like come in here and say like, man, your guys' processes are terrible, they're not working. No, like all of you guys have an organization in place because your processes are good, but let me just ask you, is it best, right? To basically just sit down and rethink and reanalyze. And so a lot of my job is just sitting down with companies like yourself and saying, hey, tell me how you get from step A to step B. How are you doing that? What does that look like? And trying to see if a simple solution like CompanyCam can get into the middle of that and help streamline that process and make it quicker. And so a big thing for us is we really want to sit down with you guys, especially if you're already current users of CompanyCam, work through some of your problems. And I'm going to leave some time at the end to kind of talk through any troubleshooting or any questions that you guys have. And we can definitely kind of sketch that into the deep dive next week. But just to give you guys just a general understanding of the solution that we really focus on, it's really simply this. It's one app where you have all of your project information, all of your photo information, your videos, your document, all of your conversations, all of your CompanyCam, and making that information easily shareable and also sendable and integratable to other softwares and products. We are an open API company. Like our big objective over the next few years is to really easily just grab the large swaths of data that you're capturing inside of CompanyCam and creating easy flows into the other spaces and places that you need to have that information as well. And so another big thing is we also are working on having a contract with NYSERDA as well, creating a clean process for you guys as contractors to get information over to them too. All right. So what's nice with CompanyCam is everything inside of the app itself is organized by location. What's great with this is you can hit the map view, you can show up on site, you've got all of your projects in your bayou, you can start brand new projects. Anytime you take a photo, you know exactly who took the photo and when. All of the photo information can also be time-stamped and geolocated stamped, and everything is instantly synced and available, both on your phone as well as a laptop version through the desktop as well. And so let me just kind of dive into how we consider what it looks like to win with CompanyCam. And so we've got selling, production, marketing, and just covering your assets. And so from a sales perspective, when you've got guys out in the field, what we know is that your customers will instantly make a very quick judgment when they're considering you as a contractor, right? They want security, they want control, they're gonna shop around. You're not gonna be their first person or first contractor that they've worked with. But really, they just wanna know why. Why should they choose you as their contractor, right? And so how we set this up for success is what we found in our time spent with our customers and them talking about just being a good contractor is their customers want them to listen to what they're saying, right? They want them to clarify and paint a picture of how they can accomplish what they're physically asking, and they just really want to have an expert help them through that solution. Knowing and understanding, not just through Google reviews, but actually seeing in face-to-face conversation with that sales rep or that person, that contractor, to educate them on the right solution, but also in a way that's creating transparency. And really how CompanyCam sets this up for success is we allow those sales reps to easily create a project, to literally sit and talk through exactly what this customer is asking. We actually have a new feature that incorporates AI called walkthrough mode, where you could literally just turn one little button on that project site, take photos if you need to, but just actually put the phone in your pocket and it will record your entire conversation that you're having with your customer. Now what's nice about that is once you're done talking and once they're done talking, that entire transcript becomes instantly available to you and then instantly transcribed and summarized by AI as well. So it instantly organizes that information. I'll do a deep dive on how that works. I've actually... No, go ahead.
There's no way to have that running in the background while you're actively taking pictures and using another app, right?
Yep. No, you can pop in and out. I've actually done it on a couple demos where it recorded an hour and a half long demo.
Even as you're...
Even as I was moving from a different application as well. Yep. So you can shut it off. There's a feature inside if you don't want it to kind of spin off in the background. Obviously, there's down to that. Yep.
Do you have to inform the person you're talking with?
So not yet. That might change in the future. But if they've actually hired you, or at least are considering and hiring you, you don't have to actually, unless you're taking video. So photos are fine. Transcribing audio, recording audio, that's fine. But for some reason, in some states, video is an issue. You have to actually ask permission if you're videoing them personally. Now, if it's the property, you're fine. But if it's a person, it's a little bit different from that standpoint where you have to ask for permission in that. So that's really our big focus is, don't just hear your customers, actually listen to those customers, taking down those notes, jotting down those notes, using AI to grab that information, but then also even clarifying the problem and the solution as well too. So I know for you, for a lot of your customers, 9 times out of 10, they will not call you if they just instantly had access to all the photos and videos that you've taken on their site. So there's just this weird thing that happens, for contractors and their customers. The customer can be really annoying. It's like, hey, you would have answered that question if you just went down into your basement. Yeah, Paul.
Is there a way with galleries so that they can't save the picture? I've actually not tried it, but you share a gallery with somebody. Are they able to save the photos easily, or is it like?
Yes, so a gallery link will allow them to download those photos instantly. A timeline link actually shares all the photos, but it doesn't make that download accessible.
Got it.
Yeah, so there's a couple of variances with that. But as you can see, it's just really easy to grab the photos and send those over to customers. You can also send them a timeline link, which is a one-time dynamic link that basically allows them to see all the photos you have taken and also all the photos and videos you will take instantly. So for a lot of contractors, how they use CompanyCam is when they first kind of move from the sales to the production part in that process, they'll actually email or text that physical timeline link over to the customer saying, hey, before you guys call us, like we want to help you, we want to give you the best possible service, but before you call us, can you just double check the photos that you have access to? Because it's probably going to answer some of the questions that you have, right? And so creating a good flow for that as well. Yep.
Has there been an update where the Android phones will put the picture in the picture when you record a video?
We are working on that. Android is a little bit tougher with the picture-in-picture mode, just because it's like tougher to create it for some reason. It's been a product issue for our engineers for like the last year, 2 years actually. So, but it's on our list. We're fumbling our way through that little bug. We did create it, but it's so buggy we can't get the resolute solution kind of created from that. The last thing here is also just being the expert, educating on the solution itself. So being able to physically annotate directly over your photos, adding text, adding logos, even sending your information directly over to your website. So showcasing your physical projects to your website itself. And what's really cool is we're actually bringing it back, but it's way better, is now you can actually annotate not just on the photo itself, but you can create your segments here, and then it will also automatically measure out those segments for you as well with AR. We used to have it, it worked about 87% perfectly, 13% wasn't great, so we're like, we don't know if contractors are gonna like that. But now that most phones have LiDAR in it, it actually allows that process to be extremely, extremely accurate across the board, which is nice. And then yeah, just working to create transparency. It's really easy to walk through your checklists, your reports, build those PDFs out throughout the app itself, being able to send that information directly over to your customer, giving them access in a number of different ways, not just through a URL link, but you can also give them guest access to CompanyCam if you want them to be able to comment back and forth with you, ask questions on the project, have access to certain documents, that kind of thing too. So definitely some different endpoints to help you guys with the solutions that you're trying to create in terms of your customer-facing ability. And then selling, just being able to create those unique projects, collecting that comprehensive info across the board. Already talked about that. Now we did add a feature here, so you guys are able to literally take a photo, speak, it instantly grabs everything that you just said, adds it as a physical description alongside the photo, and also adds in your punctuation through AI automatically. So it's a little bit different than just speak to text. It's also running through AI in the background. And then what's really nice is we actually just came out in beta mode last Friday. The app will automatically translate over to Spanish, and it creates an automatic translation tool between Spanish and English inside of the app. So if you guys have some field guys out there that are using, that only speak Spanish or kind of struggle with even taking down notes and stuff like that, they can type everything in Spanish, and then for you on your side, it'll actually show up as English. So we just released that to 20% of all CompanyCam users. And so because you guys are here at this conference, if you ever want to jump onto betas with CompanyCam and test those new features out and be the first ones to it, let me know. I'll add you to our list. So super excited with some of those features that are coming out. Already talked about timeline and gallery links, checklists, that's all good. And yeah, so kind of moving more towards production, really kind of thinking through just the lens of how you guys create your SOPs, whether that's via checklist. I know Paul's an avid user of creating checklist templates. Trust me, I've already copied Paul's template.
I made it.
Who made it? Oh, you made it? Nice. It's a good template. It's great. We're definitely giving that over to NYSERDA to possibly just have them kind of send that out to everyone so you guys can have access to that. And, instead of reinventing the wheel, you can use what a clean process that's already in our systems across the board, which is super nice.
What's that consist of?
So we built like basically a typical Empower audit checklist, right? So just 4 exterior photos, mechanical and nameplate, hot water and nameplate, refrigerator and nameplate.
So it follows the assessment itself.
That's the goal, right? So that when the auditor's leaving the house, he has everything we should need, and we have everything we need to submit the project.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it saves a lot of time across the board. So being able to like send that out.
So I guess that's a good place to ask about sort of AI feature naming. If I'm using a template like that, first of all, can I connect photos directly to the template? And secondly, are you looking at any kind of AI? You know, it says, okay, this is a refrigerator. That's a refrigerator tag.
Yes.
Maybe even look up the year for us. That would be nice.
Yes, so eventually what's going to happen, so right now our AI is kind of within our pages focus, and then what he's talking about is our checklist focus. And I'll really get into this a lot more tomorrow, really kind of show you how the product works both on my phone and my desktop at the same time. But essentially within that checklist, you're able to add photos to those fields and answer those questions. And then it also can pull right into a PDF document directly from that checklist. Now, with AI in Pages, it's incorporating our models that we've created based off of different industries. And so like we have a couple for contractors, a couple for plumbers, electricians, that kind of thing. Right now, those AI pages isn't going to communicate directly to your checklist, but we're building out a better flow where all of this information is going to incorporate that process. And eventually where AI is now going, especially now that now that OpenAI has competition with DeepSeek out of China, it's actually just upped the entire ballgame for everything across the board. And so now they're going to implement and release the ability for AI to actually, it already had this ability, but now they're releasing it kind of at a wider frame, and so we actually get access to it. But essentially AI is going to be able to analyze photos and pick things out of photos based off of how it learns. So being able to say, hey, that's a fridge, and that's a Samsung fridge, and we know exactly what type of fridge that is, based off of what it's seen, right? So it's going to be a wild ride this next year of where AI is going to go, especially within our app, because we're very much early adopters of that information.
Yeah, just to put it into context, being able to quickly put everything into folders more or less appropriately. It doesn't even have to be perfect, but you know, just for Empower to be able to separate everything out and just get a first glance. So instead of doing all of that initial separation, that would
exactly.
be
Yeah, and the AI will actually use the tag list that you create inside of CompanyCam and learn as you tag photos. It's like, oh, you tag that photo as a Samsung fridge. We can kind of match that based off this next photo that it's possibly, here's some suggestions. Do you want to tag this fridge as a Samsung fridge too? So it's kind of like some learning triggers and some capabilities with that as well too. So we use tags within CompanyCam as like a quick way to kind of organize your photos. Like one of the projects that I have inside of CompanyCam has 4,000 photos. It's unlimited data, which is great, but unlimited data means you can get a lot of photos really, really quickly within one individual project. And so we create individual tags that you can kind of build out your own list and tag out photos and kind of build your processes through that inside of the project itself.
Tags are much nicer than folders.
Exactly. Yep.
You know,
It's
the
just
same
simple.
photo is the photo of your basement, the basement and of the furnace.
Yep.
So.
Exactly. So yeah, kind of continuing here. So the beautiful thing about CompanyCam is you can really duplicate and replicate some of the best work that your guys do out in the field by simply creating even like training projects or training modules inside of CompanyCam, where you're saying, hey, when I get a new employee, this is the project that they go to. These are the processes that they walk through. We will train your guys out in the field as well too. We have live YouTube trainings that happen every single day throughout the week right on our YouTube channel. And so you can always pop them right into that. It takes about 30 to 35 minutes for them to get some basics of CompanyCam and know exactly how to use it. And then even through like our implementation process too, like our big thing is like we don't like want your guys, like we built an app that's kind of dummy proof. Like we feel like the user interface is pretty simple and easy. Like if I can teach my dad who's been a contractor his entire life and has only had a smartphone for like the last 5, if I can teach him in 20 seconds how to use it pretty simply, like I feel like it's pretty easy to do kind of thing, right? And so keeping that in mind, like thinking through a lens, especially if you've got HR or like enablement or training like within your company, just leveraging the tools that you already have to care for those employees stepping in those positions, saying, hey, this is exactly what you should be doing on every single job site. Just follow your checklist, follow the tasks that you get assigned to, take your photos, take your before, take your afters, all that good stuff. And then some new things that we're also continuing to focus on and add is invoicing and payments. So being able to actually create your own invoice option inside of CompanyCam, create that template, and then instantly use that to create those invoices that can also be attached to QuickBooks. And then we did create a new payments feature inside of the app as well too. It's attached through Stripe payment. And so there's a way for you guys to attach everything together and get paid out in the field a lot quicker and sooner. And then we also do have documentation, so if you guys do have documents that need to go out and be signed, there's a way to do that through Dropbox Sign inside of CompanyCam as well.
Are you going to be coordinating the signature rules with Empower?
Yeah, so that's actually something that we're in discussions with too, trying to figure out the best process in place to make sure that works well. Because I think there's just some fields, some template options that we just kind of need to sort through to make sure that fits the distinctives of what they would need to have on their side. Yeah, great question. Other than that, let's see here. Project galleries, kind of talk about that a little bit. This is just a very long slide deck here. So the other big thing is marketing with CompanyCam. We make it really easy to just capture a bunch of information, but being able to take your before photos and your after photos instantly. What's really cool with CompanyCam is you can, the second you've got a before photo, you can actually go into that photo, hit the 3 little dots in the bottom right-hand corner, and I'll show you guys what this looks like tomorrow. But when you go to take your after photo, it will actually superimpose that first photo over it. And you can actually hit the outline mode. It'll give you all the outlines of that first photo that you took, so you can perfectly align those frames up again. And the second you take that photo, it'll instantly grab your logo that you have in the system and create that before and after instantly. So basically having all that marketing potential to easily get that over to your customer, or even get that over to your website, over to Facebook, Instagram, to continue to kind of focus in on that priority. Now, the other cool thing is we've really kind of honed in with marketing individuals, but also even external marketing agencies of, hey, we just need to have access to the photos that these contractors are taking. And so giving them an opportunity to jump into individual projects, giving them collaborator access, but also easily creating like tags within CompanyCam for them. And so one of the tags that we created was showcases. So like, if I'm a guy that just finished up a job site and I took some really, really awesome after photos, I can just tag all those photos instantly as I take them, showcase, and then that marketer instantly has access. They can just literally go to the CompanyCam, log in, hit showcase tag, and now they can see all the photos that those guys out in the field have showcased, and then pick and choose kind of from there, right? Now the other cool thing is being able to, once a project is complete, being able to showcase that entire project over to your website instantly without you having to know anything about code or anything like that. So it's a really cool, clean format where you can just say, hey, I want to showcase this to my website. That widget's already there. It's going to show my potential customers all the projects that we've been finishing in a certain area, the different types of materials that we use on those projects, and the type of project that we did as well. So that gets showcased directly over to your website. But it can also be showcased over to our sister application called Trusty. Trusty is a very new idea. We really firmly believe that there's a very big market space that's kind of really untapped. Everyone hates Angie's List because it's not a very good plan. And you can pay a lot of money to just get a lead that's also sold to like 10 other contractors as well. And so we started to ask the question, like, we have over 40,000 contractors that use CompanyCam daily. 40,000 individual companies. That's over, I think it's over like 250,000 users taking photos of projects. Why would we not just ask those contractors to say, hey, what if you put this to a website where it was attached to your Google business account, so your Google reviews are there, and you could just be evaluated by the potential customers that are out there based off the projects that they're looking to get done, based off the area that they live in, and so you've got another ability to kind of create another flow of marketing leads. And so that's how we created Trusty. It just got released, it's brand new, it's down in Dallas right now, it's blowing up, which is awesome. It's going to continue to grow by region. It should hit this area with you guys as CompanyCam users to start taking advantage of that within the next 3 months. But essentially all you do within CompanyCam is you hit the Trusty button, you create your company portfolio within Trusty and attach it to CompanyCam, and you can start showcasing your projects that you complete directly over to CompanyCam, and it's just going to literally funnel leads to you from there. Now, the sweet thing about this is because you can actually attach CompanyCam to your Google account, you can also instantly review or get Google reviews after you finish a project in CompanyCam. And I'll show you guys exactly how that looks tomorrow, but essentially, once a project's done, I'll get there in a second. Once a project's done, you hit review. It literally asks you, hey, do you want to use the same format you've been using in terms of what you want to say to this customer? You want to choose a couple of photos. So it automatically generates the photos you want that customer to put on that Google review. It creates a hyperlink that you can either email or text over, and the customer just has to hit one button and type in their feedback, and then instantly you get a Google review from there. But yeah, Paul.
So, NYSERDA contractors are gonna run into a problem with this.
Tell me more.
Because we need GPS and timestamp on our photos.
Yes.
And we can't remove them from the photos.
Yes.
We can't be using those for marketing with people's geotags on every photo. So.
Yep.
Great. We need
Needs to be
CompanyCam to be able to let us toggle that on and off before and after photos are taken.
Yep, great question. So the feature, and I think we talked about that last time we were on the webinar, the feature that we've been talking about with product is that you can actually, you'll be able to click on those individual photos you want to use for marketing and revert to original. And so it'll remove the latitude and longitude stamp and time and date stamp.
And the metadata?
I don't know about the metadata, maybe.
So that's coming up. It's not.
What's that?
That's coming, right?
Yeah, we're building that out specifically
Yeah.
because we started to realize, like, oh man, a lot of people use the time and stamp, and they're kind of forced to use those stamps. And so, how do they start to use those pictures for marketing rather than sitting there and trying to crop out every single photo? And now you're missing, the bottom third of your photo, kind of thing.
When you say build it out, kind of timeline are you talking about? Are you talking about like Q3 or are you talking about?
Yeah, so we'll probably roll that out at the end of Q2 here.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be a quick update. Yeah, great question.
Yeah, I'd encourage you to also scrub the metadata if you're going with the marketing.
Yeah, I can ask them. I don't know exactly what the process is, if it's scrub set or not.
That's simple.
Okay. Yeah, good enough. Let's see, Facebook, Instagram, sharing, publishing, or talk about that. That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There we go. 40,000 companies, 223,000 users is kind of our focus. But I'd love to dive into any hypothetical questions or any issues you guys are facing or any troubleshooting things too.
So it generates a report?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that becomes a PDF? That can then be uploaded
You
somewhere
have to
else?
build a report.
Yeah, so you build either from a template or you can just build directly on the project itself. That would basically create that PDF for you that you can then share, send, email, all that good stuff.
Can you build someone else what you're saying by the template?
So in our process, we haven't really started using reports because we're building the checklists, which you can then save the checklist as a PDF. So reports take a
And
little
that
bit.
checklist consists of all the Empower stuff that you're looking for?
Correct. So we start identifying that. Our admins building it before the auditors go into a job site. The auditors are building a production before the crews go to the job site. So there's kind of like a couple steps there. The reports just are kind of different. It's hard for production to build checklists because every job is unique, right? Like you can't just say, maybe if you do 100 spray foam trailer bellies, you can make a template for that. But every some addicts are doing 2 bath fans, right? So we're the auditor's goal, or what is covering their ass effectively, is them making the checklist going, how do I know this job's gonna get approved when I submit it for billing, right? What photos do I need the crew to take? Because that's ultimately what we're finding out, right? The crews took what photos they felt they wanted to take, and then the auditor's trying to go back and get them, and now we're moving cellulose and trying to get timestamps and So by the auditor creating the list of what photos he expects the crew to take, and the crew getting to the end of the day, it's solving that problem, and then you can just save that checklist as a PDF.
Yeah. So like in terms of building out those templates, you would do that from the desktop version here. So like I'm in a report template right now, and so I can basically edit this entire template and like walk through every section hypothetically of what they would need to fill out. What's cool with the report section is it actually gives you access to this thing called snippets. And so if you guys are required to use certain language within those reports, you can actually save those as individual text snippets that you can reuse over and over and over again. So I actually have a company, Green Home Solutions. They're very much in the EPA world. Really have to like focus in on like their reporting process in CompanyCam pumps out a 150-page photo report. It's insane. It literally takes them about, like with CompanyCam, which is a faster solution, it takes them 35 minutes to fill it out. And they have over 800 text snippets based off of every possible thing that could happen on a job site that they need to detail in the verbiage that the companies that they report to have to certify. So that's how they use the text snippets, because it makes it really point and shoot, where they would say, hey, we're finding mold in a basement and it's got this issue. They would type in those 3 words, it would pop up that snippet they need, it would instantly grab that text and add it to that physical report all on the job site. So there's definitely some like very niche tools to kind of use inside of the desktop and app version to kind of clean up those processes and make it a lot quicker as well too. Yeah.
You said you had an open API for this?
Yes.
So the company already had a software system and system builders, and
Yep.
their team was used to using that. What kind of features could we end up losing with an open API? You're talking to a plumber here, so.
Yeah. So the nice thing with like the open APIs, like it's definitely, it creates an ability to instantly send information between our platform and that platform. So photos, videos, documentation, like that's the core basis of all the integrations that we've built out. But we have an entire API docs page where we've actually built out all the hypothetical code. So if a company comes in and says, man, we love, like our customers love CompanyCam, can we just like build out a quick integration and transfer photos back and forth? They could literally just go to our docs page and build it out very, very quickly and simply as well too. But nowadays, everything is so interconnected, like even if they're not an open API company, you can use a platform like Zapier and create a free Google, or use your Google Gmail account, and you can create Zaps in between CompanyCam and other products to kind of push information back and forth. So it kind of cleans up any manual entry that you guys are doing.
So the person will go take the photos, put all of the data on them that they're doing it with the streamlined process you guys laid out.
Yep.
And then pulling all those photos into the software program to be able to populate their reporting and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
Yep.
just as an example of that, we'd be able to query your system based on the tags?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, so that's also on our docs page too. So you could actually query that. Yeah, query that based off of those tags as well. Yeah, we have a whole option for that too. Our most advanced integration is actually with AccuLinks, which is big in the roofing world. But that basically is coordinating all the project site information from photos, documentation, to tags, to labels, to documents as well.
I believe I saw Service Titan on there.
Yes, that actually just came out. So Service Titan is also on there as well too. And that's a more advanced one as well. Hover is there too. I think someone was talking about Hover earlier today.
Me?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
So what if you don't have service in the home?
Yeah, great question.
Wi-Fi or
Yeah,
data
so
or whatever.
the app will automatically go into offline mode. I do know that there's on Android, and it was like one of the older versions, like sometimes contractors just never update their phone, and you're just like, yes, offline mode does work, but you need to update to the newest install, otherwise it's not going to work properly. And so anytime you lose Wi-Fi or cell phone coverage, any project that you starred or been on recently or favorited inside of the app itself will allow you to get into that project even when you have no cell phone or Wi-Fi coverage. And then you're still able to take all of your photos, all of your video information. You're still able to actually even use AI and even talk to text through the AI feature Speak there. Now, it's not going to finalize that information or that outcome until you receive that cell phone coverage or Wi-Fi coverage again. Yeah. And it just kind of stores it locally inside the app. I actually just tested today because I've got a bigger contract that I'm working with. He was worried. He's like, what happens, like how much storage is that going to take up on the physical app on your phone when you're in offline mode? Well, I was like, that's a great question. I don't know. So I took over 250 photos out in the lobby in offline mode, and it literally only brought my CompanyCam usage from 710 megabytes on my phone to 730. So obviously it's basically, I think it's kind of compressing those images or those videos, and then once it uploads it, it decompresses them and pushes them over the cloud.
That actually brings me to a question I did not ask you earlier. The cloud storage, is that the original photos, or is that compressed?
Nope, that's all original.
Okay.
So whatever quality that you take that in on the phone itself, and you can actually choose, what quality you take it at within the app itself, it's going to basically store that same information on CompanyCam as well in the cloud. So you can take 4K every single time for your videos, and it's going to keep that same size.
And what about formatting?
What's that?
What about the format of the photo? JPEG?
Yeah,
PNG?
yeah. So it's going to be JPEG, not HOIC.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be JPEG format. Yeah.
Will CompanyCam actually install a heat pump?
Well, someday. That's our hope. No, that's not a business we want to do.
I just wanted to hear you say you couldn't do something.
Selfish question. We're using a lot of the tasks, right? But
Yes.
I don't think there's an easy way to just see all of your tasks without going to the individual projects.
Yep. Great question. So yeah, our next kind of initiative is to basically kind of create more of like within a company, like within the company dashboard that we've already made. So if I go to company dashboard here, essentially we're gonna kind of you'll still have access to like your overview to see what all your users are doing across the board to kind of create some better standardization and efficiency focuses. But essentially this dashboard is gonna get a facelift where it's basically gonna kind of be like, hey, we can see, are our projects on time? Like, are they moving from active to production to all different processes that we have in place in the timeline that we've set forth based off these triggers? And then also kind of creating like a main space for those tasks to just kind of be more visible. Instead of a project level view, having a complete overview of all the projects that are ongoing that you want to kind of see them.
Yeah, because that became a little bit of a struggle, like trying to do some service, sending like one guy out to like 4 different projects, like you couldn't just see all the tasks, you had to go find the project.
You had to get on the project and then see that. And so, I mean, the assignment is nice, because for me, I can always kind of pop up here to my my individual notifications both on my phone, and I can always go to my assignments and just kind of see the recent notifications. But this is just kind of telling me what I've been assigned to, not what I've completed, right, from a project level or from a whole overview. Rather than now I've got to get on every single project to see what I've got outstanding kind of thing. Like it's a little redundant, so we want to, obviously it's a newer feature that we've added not too long ago, and so want to create some better processes and flows from there.
Not saying
Yeah.
that it's intentional, right, but we need to make sure that the information that's being used is a fair.
Cool, any other lingering questions? Would love to, last little session of the day. Yeah.
How much?
Yeah, so it really kind of breaks down to about $34 per user. Just a monthly plan. You can always start with us, subscription based, month to month, no contract whatsoever. We always like to, especially with conferences like this, it's like, hey, we'll give you a couple weeks to trial it out, make sure it's going to be something that you love. We actually have one of the lowest churn rates in the tech industry. It's less than 1%. So it's pretty awesome to be able to say that we really want to create long-term relationships with our customers, constantly adding value to our product and learning as we go. And so anytime you guys have feedback or you're like, man, I really wish we had this feature inside the app, let us know, because we will build it out if it's something that we find value in and other people are asking for it. I would say about 85% of the features that like I showed you guys here today, those were all requested by our customers. Like our best ideas came from our customer base. And so we don't take credit for a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
So you got a every single person has to have its own user? Can you have one for the office? And
Yep. Yeah. So you can. Yeah. So technically, you can have two devices, whether it be phone or desktop computer, connected to the same user account at the same time and not have any issues. I always say it's kind of like Netflix. You can have 3 devices, or 2 devices watching at the same time. You get a third one in there, it kicks up, the first person off kind of thing. So I always say you can always usually have one for the office. And a lot of my contractors, they'll kind of break up their teams where a project manager will have the access login code for his crew, and then if he's not using it, one of his guys will pop in if he's not there for the day.
That's what we do. I don't have my own login.
Yeah.
I just share with, I do the office, so
Yep.
I have full access.
Not
And then
to
if you-
convince you to get more users. I started with the same plan. I gave my foreman
Yep.
a login, and then it quickly turned into who did that, right? And now I can see who weather stripped the front door
Yeah.
at that house.
Correct.
And all of a sudden, accountability, it started dialing in real quick. I know who baffled at that house.
Yeah. All of our field guys have their own login.
Yeah. Usually all the
It started
field guys
that
do.
way, and then we started just giving it to everybody.
Yeah, usually the people back in the office, they usually have one that they just kind of float around, kind of use as needed. And then even if you have 1099 or subs that are going to be working for you, you can just add them in as a collaborator on the project. It's super easy to do. You just come in here in collaborators, hit one little button either from the app or the desktop and hit invite, and it just sends them a hyperlink. And they would actually log in, create a free account, and just get access to that project itself.
The problem is we can't get the GPS tags.
Oh, from the collaborator, that's right. I do. So
now my subs have accounts too.
Well, interesting. I don't want to tell you this then, because we just upped the access to collaborators, and so they should have access to take photos with the timestamp. So if you want to save some money, let me know. I don't get credit for it, so it doesn't matter anyway. Yeah.
What happens to the information if the company was to go out of business or not use their
Like CompanyCam in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can always export all of this information over to a CSV file if need be. We are also developing a way, this is pretty new, but we're coming out with it actually I think it's already in our integrations here, but if you want to throw stuff redundantly out of CompanyCam and into Google Drive, you can also do that as well now too.
And
Yeah.
how long does it stay on the cloud?
Oh, it's always there.
It's always there.
Yeah, I can show you
As long as the user is.
Yeah. So our very first customer was White Castle Roofing, Luke's dad's company. You can see how much data they've got. They're a data suck. It's crazy how much they've got stored on CompanyCam. Guy they've been using it for 10.5 years, so it makes sense. Yeah.
I just wanted to confirm, so adding a collaborator, homeowner as a collaborator, they get a new refrigerator through the program. We need a sticker picture of that refrigerator for, let's say, the next project next year, because there's a 1-year look back.
Mm-hmm.
That, as a collaborator, that customer can take a picture of their sticker without me driving to their house, and it can be time and date.
Oh yeah, so you could give them that collaborator access, but honestly what you could do, instead of having that homeowner try to download an app, just because things happen, they don't want to download an app.
Yeah.
What you could do is you can just hit the little share button and give them add guest access here. And when you do that, you just type in their email address.
Send them the link.
Yep, it'll send them a link, and it'll just be a hyperlink that they don't even have to log into, but it will instantly allow them to upload and download photos directly from that hyperlink.
Sick.
And it comes right over that project.
I'm looking forward to it opening the camera for them.
Yeah, because you're just like, just take the photo.
Yeah, because they're taking it, saving it, trying to upload it. Same thing, we lose the GPS tag.
Yep.
We're all going to keep complaining about GPS tags.
Yeah.
Not in
I know,
our
you guys are-
choice.
Right, yeah.
I know you don't want to be doing that, so that makes sense.
At least you don't have to get 8 light bulbs later.
Now, if you add a guest, it'll come up geotag.
No.
I didn't think so.
No, they'll need to add, they'll need to add that, yeah. So I would, if you want your guests to add the geotag in, then definitely use the collaborator access.
Is there any option to upload a photo and automatically have it geotagged from where that photo was taken? Because I know that iPhone, you take a photo, you can scroll up on the photo, and it'll actually have the geotag at the bottom of that photo with the information, that kind of thing. Is there an option to potentially coordinate that into uploading a photo from a customer with no CompanyCam access? access.
Yeah.
We'll just have that information transferred over to that photo that's uploaded from the customer.
It's a great idea. I'm gonna say we can't do that right now, but that's
Sure,
a great
sure.
idea. I'll send to my product team. I wonder how we could
Just getting it to open the camera live instead of a lot of pictures.
Yeah, that's a good point. Huh? That's a good thought. I'll have to think about that a little bit. The product kind of develops like that.
Are you familiar with the Stream app? So it was an app NYSERDA tried during COVID where you would send someone a link and you could view their camera, right? They'd walk around their house.
Oh, interesting.
And view through their camera. You could do things like point an arrow, like please get closer to this.
Oh,
and they're looking
yeah.
at their phone. Some of those features are hugely valuable. You know, when troubleshooting with a customer and they're like, you broke this, and I'm like, can you show me?
Yeah.
Right, without having to
Yeah.
make those service visits and things like that. So something,
So it's kind of like a more interactive, like FaceTime.
yes, but it's like straight through, right? Like they're holding their phone and you're seeing that angle, but you can scroll on their phone, like draw it. Check out it's
Interesting.
Stream.
Stream app. Okay, that's really cool.
But I think there's some good features from that I would love to see in CompanyCam if we're continuing to give advice.
Yeah, I will.
That's a good point. Like, just the ability to draw on their screen and be like, no, this is what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
This is a knee wall floor. We have no idea what you're talking about.
Interesting.
No, that's my crawl space. No, this is your knee wall floor, right?
Okay. Some good thoughts. Paul, I'm just gonna have you sit down.
I'm gonna be a part of your product development.
I'm just gonna literally have you just sit down. We might actually hire you as
Get some
a
free
thought
subscriptions
person,
from the
so
company.
not a bad idea.
That means gotta be worth at least a couple users. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, I'll give you your collaborators back, your subs. I'll charge you back. It'll be fun. Any other last questions here? I want to give at least a couple minutes back to you guys. Sweet. Well, awesome. Thanks for being here. We'll do a deep dive tomorrow. I'll actually like demo the product, how to do certain things from there. I actually have a whole little poll that I took from everyone from the last little Zoom demo that we did a couple of weeks ago. And so I'm just going to dive into the main things that are pertinent to you guys too, and make sure we work through some of those solutions and troubleshoot some of those things from our product standpoint too. So awesome. Thanks guys. Got I think one more little session left and we're done for the day.
Thank you.